first elimination match of Group D will begin now, and it will be Kings Row to start things off. OW Kings versus NONAMEYET. Two underdog teams in the European scene trying to make a name for themselves, I guess, Joshy.
That's
right. I personally suspect that OW Kings is kind of the favorite in this one, but after the performances we saw today, it's kind of up in the air.
It's interesting, OW Kings, we very often throughout these playoffs have had situations where, like, we don't know how strong this team is because they ran into the best team in the group and got bulldozed. So, actually, Dignitas was the ones fighting OW Kings, and they lost to Luminosity. So Luminosity had a struggle with NONAMEYET. That actually makes me really worried for OW Kings. Just kind of the sequence that we've seen play out so far, OW Kings have actually had the weakest showing up to this point. So they do have a lot to prove, and they do need to hang on here. This is OW Kings on Kings Row, so that's almost the same exact name, same exact letters there.
Yeah, they got to have the advantage.
Yeah, home field advantage.
Right,
all right. Defending first with a very standard 6.
Yep, super standard stuff, but Nuja actually playing Genji on attack, so we'll see if he's able to make anything work with this. And the interesting positioning for Olba, just trying to play sneaky off to the side. He's still waiting. He still hasn't shown his face, and he has the high ground. So will Olba, when will he come out? It's actually going to be NONAMEYET pushing in onto the point, and now is Olba's time to come from behind.
Nuja actually getting pinned immediately. You were talking about how it's hard to Genji on this first point, not just because Reinhardts are pinning you, but because it can be tough to get the angles that you're looking for. McCree actually waiting in the wings like that did pay off. Everyone got a piece of NONAMEYET as they came in for that failed attack. Olba just waited for the opportune moment. You never want to lose your McCree first, so it makes sense to keep him a little bit sheltered.
Yeah, and that was a clean wipe. NONAMEYET didn't get a single kill to their name, unfortunately, as they've got to come back and try all over again. Nuja getting closer and closer to a Dragon Blade, which could open things up, but we're going to have the first ultimates already on the board for OW King, as Tweedy does have the Earth Shatter, and will he be able to pull it out? Yes, he does, Joshy.
And he does catch several targets. Look at that. They're just dropping like flies at this point to the might of OW Kings. Reinhardt Tweedy with an excellent Earth Shatter, setting up the team for success. 1 minute and 20 seconds already burned off the clock. That's not a great sign for NONAMEYET. They did have a great control map, as we pointed out earlier in the day against Luminosity, but payload actually was a different story. So hopefully they can get it together and try to take advantage of an OW Kings that might be feeling a bit down with themselves based on their first match today.
Yeah, and even though that Earth Shatter already popped, still an ultimate advantage here for OW Kings as they're sitting pretty far back on the point, content to stay far back, and that could be a big Deadeye. The speed boost is coming out, and the entirety of NONAMEYET pushed back once again, and Olba actually ends up wasting the Deadeye, unfortunately for him, but looking for the kill. Nuja left with so little health, but Olba also with little health, going to be healed up by Transcendence.
Yeah, the Transcendence triggered by the Dragon Blade actually saves Olba's life. Shatter 2K getting a couple of kills there with the Death Blossom. We didn't get to see it, but now the rest of the ults coming out. Additonian getting a kill on Nuja means that the attacking team is down and almost completely out. Point is the last person standing in there. He's going to battle it out to the death, but will fall as well. Great combination there from OW Kings. They lost quite a few players, but managed to hang on in the end. Olba switching to that Tracer in fear of losing A. May actually even consider going back to McCree at this point now that things are in hand, but he is going to stick it out on Tracer and try and work on this Nuja's Genji.
All right, pretty even on ultimates here, 2 apiece, and well, the advantage will happen the good old-fashioned way. And Nuja coming from behind, and that's a sound barrier going to keep all of OW Kings very, very healthy in that fight, even though there was a big Graviton Surge, collecting 3 or 4, sucking them into the black hole. Sound barrier is all they need to survive.
It's interesting, actually. It's always the DPS players left standing at the end for NONAMEYET. They really need to stick with their supports and tanks. The flanking is just not working out for them. They need to maybe just switch composition completely, get some more range in there, because running onto the point has not worked for them yet. Shatter is getting tons of damage, and I think he's died only 1 time. Death Blossom earlier took full advantage of the fact that this team is trying to just shove the point. Some range damage, some poke, Hanzo, Soldier, Pharah, something to try and break this choke before getting onto the point could help them out.
All right, Nuja fully bringing out the Dragon Blade for the first time, but Olba will get a triple Pulse Bomb, so that Dragon Blade, even if it got a kill or 2 or 3, it's still not going to be enough, as OW Kings holding strong and only 30 seconds left. Where did the time go for NONAMEYET?
Every single wipe took, 30, 40 seconds. They had some stragglers. That was actually the biggest burst that we'd seen yet with that Graviton Surge Pulse Bomb combo. Neptuno not playing Tracer. He was showing some real brilliance there earlier in the match against Luminosity, but on McCree this game, he hasn't really done much of anything. You hear the Deadeye actually being triggered. Oh, no, actually, it's just going to be a Death Blossom going in and taking care of everything. Anyway, there's the end of that Deadeye. Looks like he did pull the trigger and found Clown. Oh, several members of the defense dead. This could actually be an opportunity as that player just lived with about 2 health, Zartaz.
Yeah, NONAMEYET actually finally making it happen here, and I gotta point it out, I gotta say, Nuja, as soon as he switched to Reaper, the first moment that he's in the play, he's already getting the first kill to open things up for his team. Even after we saw the Death Blossom from Shatter getting 2, Nuja, the fact that he switched to Reaper, got the first kill, allowed them to take that first point, and not a great time, not something to write home about either. So NONAMEYET moving on to the Streets plays, perhaps with their tail between their legs, no ultimates in their name as well. Actually, they just have an Earth Shatter. Yeah,
that's 1 Earth Shatter apiece actually for both teams, and at this point, I think they just have to be happy they got A, because it really hurts to get full held on Kings Row after you had a pretty good performance in that first match against a stronger opponent. So NONAMEYET moving forward. Neptuno actually with the McCree trying to find that Genji, actually misses the flash as Genji gets out of there, but payload's still moving. Nothing's really dying on either side. It is going to come down to whoever pops these ults to get the engage started.
Yeah, we could see the sound barrier to start the engagement here for NONAMEYET, or just to keep everyone alive. Nuja barely survives. Hidden will go down, so OW Kings is holding strong based off Shatter's Dragon Blade here. Shatter also, even in that engagement, was left with very little health. Nonetheless, able to get the kills, and OW Kings has put the brakes on this payload once again.
This is the chance for NONAMEYET. They need to try and bait out the ultimates of Sound Barrier and Transcendence so that Nuja can have an opportunity to perhaps combo with the Earth Shatter and try and get some kills here, dislodge this payload from in front of the bookstore. As we move forward, it is going to be on NONAMEYET, but they lose Neptuno so very quickly. Shatter throwing those shurikens with great accuracy, finding that big source of DPS. There's the Death Blossom we were looking for earlier, finds all 3 of those nearby defenders. Really good stuff from Nuja. I think it's going to be enough to continue surging forward. You can see everyone else falling now. Adatonian, Twitty, and Rib fall as well. Finally, Nuja the switch. That's really all he needed, it feels like.
Goodness gracious me, Nuja gets a 4K and the Streets phase. And yeah, man, I hate to harp on it too much, but Genji, it's difficult in these kind of more confined areas. You know, you can see Genji come out more on this last phase of Kings Row, but before that point, on defense and attack, you're usually going to see Reaper.
All right, Graviton Surge is actually on both sides. Transcendence triggered by the side of the defense. We see a sound barrier on NONAMEYET, so everyone's still alive. Neptuno finally finding the first kill. Clown is going to go down. Adatonian followed up, and Olba, so that is all NONAMEYET coming up great here at the end of the second checkpoint. Genji, the last one alive, is going to continue to contest. May just want to die at this point. Yeah, Shatter finally goes down, and the checkpoint was met with some time to spare, so they actually caught some ground. They gained some ground during that Streets phase through a few really nice engagements. Ultimates definitely telling the story here.
Yeah, not a lot of ultimates up for either team right now. Shatter 2K, the only one stacked. He will have the Dragon Blade though. Oh, Nuja up top again. Nuja getting close to Death Blossom, but he's going to drop down first. Oh, but he gets spotted out. It's going to be a nice flashbang coming out of Olba, stopping things in their track. And yeah, Shatter, maybe a little bit of pub stomp in his mind as he dives deep, gets the kills as well.
They heard the Dragon Blade go off, and once Reaper got caught and busted, the rest of the team, NONAMEYET, fled to the streets. Shatter just pursued them with great effort and ability, able to get the triple kill all by himself, and the spray at the end. You are not prepared. Just letting them know they're not prepared for OW Kings on Kings Road, their home turf.
Okay, another, ooh, that was not a great Death Blossom. It was very telegraphed, and even though it was comboed with a speed boost, didn't get the value needed. You need to do a lot with that Death Blossom. You need to put the Zarya shield on him. You need to speed boost him in. You need to have a distraction as well. Otherwise, in most cases, it's not going to really work out. And it's definitely the case there for Nuja, who's now on Genji.
Earth Shatter followed up by the Graviton Surges. A lot of CC ultimates coming out from the side of the defense, but Nuja and Neptuno get the first couple of kills. Olba will be able to clean up a little bit, but Nuja, with the dash resets, actually making Genji work out. Shatter still on Genji himself, getting a couple of kills as well. It's only the supports left here for the defense. It's going to be enough, though, to hang onto the cart, and there's only 1 minute left. NONAMEYET have 4 ultimates. This is still doable, but I think it has to happen on this very next engagement.
Yeah, Shatter actually reflected the Deadeye there. Just at the right time. Neptuno almost got the kill on him, and that could have changed things entirely. That said, we have a whole bunch of ultimates. It's going to be 3 versus 4. NONAMEYET with the advantage. They're going to be engaging with the sound barrier, but Zartaz with the charged up Zenyatta blast He's going to get the first 2 kills now for NONAMEYET, and this is the opportunity that they've been looking for.
Graviton Surge does trip the Transcendence, but it's still NONAMEYET with the majority of the kills. They haven't lost anyone yet. 24 seconds plus overtime gives them an opportunity to finish the map. They have Neptuno's Deadeye ready to watch those spawns. He should probably get in position right now. I know Genji's back there being distracted, but Genji trying to dash actually underneath does manage to save himself, and Dragon Blade's still intact, gives OW Kings a chance at defending. This Deadeye needs to be really good from Neptuno. He cannot waste it and cannot die before using it.
Oh, everyone's a little bit bunched up, and this could be exactly what Shatter needs. Even though he's flashbanged, he still moves onwards. The slashes are going in, no kills to his name yet, but finally picking up the first one. Nonetheless, it does look like OW Kings will be able to hold strong in the final area, final phase of Kings Row. They do prevent the time and the capture.
A little bit of the Shatter show at the end there. That Dragon Blade, actually all the Dragon Blades on that last point were phenomenal, and it was on Neptuno to try and get some Deadeyes going, but one deflected and one not even used before going down. I think he could have actually carried the team a bit more as McCree, so man, just a little bit of disappointing there for NONAMEYET after finally getting point A, getting free during overtime, getting all the way to the end of the map, and being unable to convert it to a time mat. Kind of hurts, but who knows? On defense, they could be able to shut down OW Kings. They just have to worry about Shatter. I think he is actually the one really hoisting OW Kings on his back so far. We saw a couple of good CC ultimates on either side, but I think the damage really, 11 HP during this ultimate, gets so many kills. Good stuff there.
Yeah, I want to give it up to Twitty as well.
Yeah.
We saw several really big Earth Shatters come out of him, and in the kill feed, quite a lot as far as it goes for Reinhardt. So nice stuff out of Twitty. Because we're going to switch sides now, and it is NONAMEYET's turn to attack. They have to, or excuse me, to defend. OW Kings will have to just push the payload just further. I mean, all they have to do is set any time at all to get the first win here on Kings Row, get the first win in this best of 3, and put themselves in a slightly better position to try and go up in the loser bracket final where Dignitas is waiting.
Yeah, Dignitas, I can't believe how badly they beat OW Kings, and then Luminosity made it look so easy against them. There's really kind of crazy how Luminosity played and turned on the the effort today to get out of that group and secure their spot in Atlanta. But Dignitas still the favorite of the remaining teams. OW Kings and NONAMEYET battling for the chance to face them and try to upset there. But so far, it's actually been OW Kings performing admirably. I can't believe they even let up point A. It could have been an entirely different game just a few more seconds into that first defense. Yeah,
Shadow 2K going to try his hand at Genji on attack, and we'll see if he's able to make it work. Of course, he is one of the more adept Genjis in the game, but all of NONAMEYET running for the hills. They were just trying to escape for their lives, and Shadow chasing them down. He will go down, though. If you do look at NONAMEYET, though, everyone on their team is half dead or dead already, as almost everyone was taken down so quick, so much of their health chipped away in that first engagement, and that's it for OW Kings. They're going to be able to capture the first point almost immediately.
That defensive spread from NONAMEYET was very weird. After Genji dashed through and got a piece of like all 6 of them, the DPS went toward the statue, the supports went toward the streets, and the tanks just died. Like, it was very disjointed, did not give them a chance at all of defending there, and Shatter just being the catalyst. I'm just going to go straight in. It is difficult to attack with Genji in this first point, so I'm just going to go past them and try to drag them with me, and it actually worked out. Payload is starting to move on Streets Phase. Shatter's already staring down the spawn at the end of the map there, waiting for them to return.
Hyper-aggressive play now out of OW Kings as they've moved all the way to the very, very last bit of the Streets phase. And of course, Shadow 2K, he's not going to try and get any kills here, but we'll try and at least get a little bit of ultimate charge or work down that,
nice deflect.
That Reinhardt barrier as well. And that means that NONAMEYET, their Reinhardt barrier already probably a little bit lower than Twitty's here, as here comes a potential Dragon Blade. Yes, indeed, it's going to be coming out here, but he could get hooked. He's going to have to dive away from that Roadhog, and not going to get a ton of value this time.
Yeah, with the Dragon Blade again, still not, not getting a ton of value like you said, but it is allowing his team to go crazy right now. Roadhog actually being selected by NONAMEYET does actually fall. Nuja was on either McCree or Reaper early. I think it was Reaper before he switched off. Yeah, so just adding a little bit of more defensive meat to that composition with the 3 tanks, double support, and only Neptuno on that offensive character. Shatter showing us again what to do if you don't have dash. Just jump down to your death. Additonian mocking him just a little bit.
Goodbye, Shatter.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, still, even in that engagement, Shatter seems to be the intimidation of, I don't know, of an entire team. It's Shatter alone has pushed No Name back in a ugly position, and like you said, a single Swift Strike, getting 3 or 4 hits at once, and that's a lot of damage.
Builds a ton of ults just by dashing through and then dying immediately. Still did the same as what a full life could have done. Whole hog here, getting triggered by Nuja, but flashed immediately. What a great presence there by the McCree on OW King's Olba. Rib actually getting a couple kills while Shatter's in the backline, only 16 HP. The Dragon Blade out. Let me in the window. And he does
didn't want to fall again.
Yeah,
that would have been kind of embarrassing.
He does escape with his life, though, importantly, yeah. And they beat that time so fast, or that distance, with tons and tons of time to spare. Over 6 minutes left. So even if OW Kings attacked first, this would have played out the same way.
Yeah, and if I got to talk, if I'm the coach here for NONAMEYET, and believe me, I'm not, what I would say is on defense, they needed to just have more set defensive positions because it just felt like they were very, very bunched up time and time again, and that allowed Shatter to do way too much damage, way too little time, and they kind of ran from the fight too many times instead of taking spreading apart, which we see a lot of teams do a little bit more so on defense on Kings Row. Just try to spread apart a little bit, maybe take the high ground, maybe just spread around the backside of the point, just in a way that you can't see someone like a Genji or a Reaper do that much damage all at once. Yeah. But pretty dominant stuff there out of OW Kings.
Yeah, like a zone defense, right? Or like a buddy system at least, where it's like, you, McCree, you go with this tank over here, supports, make sure you're in the back. And it just kind of was like, let's run back to the front. Oh, Shatter's here. Ding. Like, this didn't work out. And even the switch to Roadhog really didn't get a lot of value. I didn't see any hooks really blow my mind or anything like that. Roadhog was just always in the wrong place at the wrong time. And when you've got a Discord orb on you, of course, he falls incredibly fast, not just to Genji and McCree, but basically anybody looking in his direction. So missing the hooks, not having the team there with you, switch didn't really end up mattering. And after that, it was just the fact that they only had to push to a certain distance and not to the end of the map meant like trickle defense wasn't even really a thing. They didn't have much time to respawn and get back in control of that cart. But as far as the ultimates go, those are pretty much all OW Kings. We really didn't see much from NONAMEYET really at all. Like, no really good ult combos or triple kills, anything like that. You typically see at least a pulse bomb, something blow someone up. But
and actually a little bit surprised with how dominant that performance was, just given how well NONAMEYET played earlier today. And I do want to remind everyone, they're playing with a slightly different roster. They switched out their Genji player for a different Genji player, apparently.
Well, Nuja was playing Reaper. And
he
then
played a little bit of Reaper. He played a little bit of Roadhog. But on attack, he was really trying to make Genji work.
That's right.
And didn't quite happen for that team. And on the docket, we had both Hollywood and Route 66. So we're going to America one way or the other. I just wonder which one it's going to be.
It is actually going to be Hollywood for game number 2, and that is going to play out, obviously, hybrid, where you have to capture a point and then push a payload, just like Kings Row, like we just saw. So maybe, I'm not sure what NONAMEYET's thinking as far as the strategy. It could be, it's either full payload or hybrid payload, right? So I don't know. I don't know what they can change up. Maybe my suggestion the first time was they kept running onto the point just to get mauled. Maybe just some more range composition. Hanzo can do so much damage from range. Farah can do so much damage from range. Olba is, of course, a great McCree, but he has damage fall off. He's not going to pick you out of the sky every time. I would like to see something a little bit more ranged, as the ground force death ball was just not working for them against these very, mechanically skilled players on OW Kings.
And this first point, just talking about how it's structured a little bit. We do tend to see a lot of Reaper here as well, but I would say more so than Kings Row, it does have opportunity for something like a Genji to get on in, and I think you're actually right, Josh. One of the reasons why Genji can work is you can spam from behind the arches and start taking down that Reinhardt shield or folks up in the cafe from a little bit of distance. But enough of the theory crafting, as we're jumping into the game with 10 seconds left, as NONAMEYET will be defending first, and Nuja this time saying, all right, fine, I'm sticking with Reaper. On the other side, Shatter 2K with Genji, and the reason I'm calling these two out in particular is because the rest of the composition, very, very standard. These are the two kind of things you can see swapped up by teams most often.
Yeah, the only difference here, Reaper is going to be more at home defending a small area, while Genji, of course, is going to be climbing walls, flying all over the place, trying to drag the defense around in different directions, so definitely makes sense to see those differences. Neptuno getting the rush down on Olba, great flash and fan there. He also gets a couple of follow-up shots, and Shatter gets a kill there. Tweety getting 2, Shatter getting 2. That's actually, even though Neptuno got that great kill early on, it's going to be all OW Kings. Shatter just running rampant here on Genji.
I mean, as cool as that was out of Neptuno, it put him in a really bad position. And McCree, you want to be in a position where you can always back off to cover if you need to.
Right.
And he just put himself where there was no possible way to get out of that situation. He was basically saying, team, if you don't carry me here, this is not going to be worth it, and it really wasn't in the end. So it looked cool. He got the kill. It was impressive seeming,
but he was still 2v1
put himself
at
in a
the
bad
end.
position.
Yeah, still 2v1 at the end. Could not actually sustain any damage. The rest of the team falling, of course, didn't help out. No one was paying attention to Shatter, or at least able to deal with them if they were. Point is actually back on the Genji, or sorry, the anti-Genji. It's going to be Winston. He's going to be on Genji duty, rather. Hadan on the Diva now. Interesting tank switch up. No Graviton surges from the defense going to be possible now.
All right, the first kill's now going the way of NONAMEYET, so finally able to get a little bit of friction and a little bit of confidence perhaps as well, as they've moved on to the Streets phase, and it's looking good. They've got this composition that's all about taking the high ground as well as you possibly can. Of course, we still do have Neptuno on McCree. He's close to his ultimate, and I wonder where McCree is. He's going to probably be looking for the high ground as well.
That Genji battle is getting very exciting for a second. I thought that Deflect may have actually gotten the killing blow, but fortunately for Shatter, he was able to get away. Shatter is going to pop his Dragon Blade and shut down the Deadeye from Neptuno, one of the stronger players on NONAMEYET, so definitely eliminating that threat quickly is going to allow them to get a lot of space. They're probably going to push all the way to the dumpster area before we get another engagement right outside that door of the spawn. You can see that green dumpster as the players are starting to return. They probably don't all want to come out of the same choke. We'll see how they approach this, but they have enough time to actually fight as 6. They have several ultimates available. Actually, no, only the Primal Rage, but Sound Barrier is very close. Transcendence very close. Could be a bloody battle.
All right, they need to wait for some Transcendence, or excuse me, Sound Barrier, I think. Valen will be dropping it, but that's a great Graviton Surge, gonna suck up 3, and this is not looking good for OW Kings. They don't have great NONAMEYET. They don't have great positioning on the point. They're very spread apart. They're not even close to it. Even though they're able to get a couple of kills here, OW Kings still in an okay position at this point. Oh, no,
they lost. But I don't know if he maybe missaw something, but actually it was the first 2 or 3 kills going the way of NONAMEYET. They actually escaped the Graviton Surge because of the Sound Barrier, and it was Neptuno running free, actually getting a lot of damage in there. There were a couple of kills on both sides, but we can't always see everything from our perspective, but it is actually going to be NONAMEYET somehow hanging on. Did not even have to use their Primal Rage, only off the back of those defensive ultimates with Sound Barrier and Transcendence, able to stay alive through the onslaught of OW Kings. But this time they don't have either, so OW Kings have another good opportunities.
Oh, Neptuno actually looking for a huge Deadeye. He could get the damage, and actually I like this. Pairing up with the Diva, that defensive matrix going to keep Neptuno very, very healthy, very much out of danger there in that last fight. As Neptuno still on the point, Nuja will have the Dragon Blade out and swiping away. He's going to get Additonian, and this is yet another fight going the way of NONAMEYET.
Yeah, Nuja catching that Sound Barrier at a great time. He got down to something like 12 health, but Shatter going off with the Dragon Blade in hand, slicing and dicing. Absolutely sushi time now for OW Kings. They're going to be able to meet checkpoint B with 5 minutes remaining to try and finish the map. NONAMEYET doing slightly better on defense this time around than they did on Kings Row, but Shatter still just lighting him up with those dash resets and 3-star attacks.
And man, this has happened not once, but several times where Shatter is moving really far ahead of the rest of his team and still able to get the kills as OW Kings retreating. And they're so aggressive. Look at this. We have Rib moving all the way up top with Shatter. So it's going to be a hit squad of Winston and Genji, and now Nuja all by himself. But he will be able to dash on out after getting the kill on Shatter. Somehow, some way, 1v2.
Full health too. Excellent play there by Nuja. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Must have just been a series of headshots and a good escape there, allowing him to do that. That actually burns a lot of time for OW Kings. Shatter's been setting the pace for them. So without that Genji high flying and destroying everybody, they are going to be slowed down considerably. Nice deflect there. Keep his team safe. High Noon has been called out, so everyone's going to run for the hills, but Olba finds 2 anyway. Great positioning there from Olba.
Oh, I feel like that must have been a little bit of a misplay there from NONAMEYET. They heard the sound, or the McCree ultimate coming out, and they just didn't find a way to get away from it. They should have been able to. Shatter will get the first kill already. I thought that was looking fantastic for NONAMEYET, but they're crumbling under the pressure of OW Kings and Shatter 2K especially, and they got to feel a little bit bad about so many people dying to that Deadeye.
Yeah, and then Reinhardt dying on the way in to try and contest the card at the very end. They had over 5 minutes left, 1.5 minutes at least burned off, so the time to beat is going to be just over 5 minutes. Really solid times posted by OW Kings. Still not as dominant as the Kings Row match for sure, but This time, NONAMEYET showing some signs of life. They're still going to have to really turn on the Jets. This is do or die time. They're going to be eliminated if they cannot beat this great time set. Shatter, you can just see throughout this match, completely unchecked. The few times that they did manage to shut him down were the times they won the team fights in the end.
Yeah, totally. And, you know, we've seen consistent play out of Olba with McCree.
The Discord orb, that's what it was.
So it really is up to Shatter to make this happen for his team, and he's been able to do it so far. And that's a pretty good time, but it's certainly not unbeatable, as it is now time for OW Kings to set up on defense and NONAMEYET to figure out how they're going to be moving in. And Nuja looks like he's going to want to start on Genji. And will he be able to come out on top of this DPS battle? And Olba's going to be looking to protect his backline as best as he can, and we'll see what kind of positioning he takes on defense. I do suspect to see him take some kind of high ground, potentially up on the cafe.
Olba? Yeah, most likely setting him in the cafe or the balcony and basically doing what Neptuno did, but we'll have to see if he plays more conservatively or more aggressively than he did, as Neptuno leapt down basically to his death just to secure 1 kill. Ended up, you know, not working out for the defense on point A. 5 minutes, 20 seconds is the time to beat for NONAMEYET. This is their last chance. Can Nuja, the team captain, rejoining his squad, lead them to victory over OW Kings? It's kind of a tough task here, but we've seen point A fall on the first attack so many times. It really just matters who dies first in this first engagement.
Yep, and here we go. The timer will tick down, and this is the chance for NONAMEYET, and this is their last chance. They're facing elimination from the tournament. They qualified via 256 team brackets to get here, and they certainly don't want to go down and out just yet. That said, OW Kings, you got to feel like there's more pressure on them. They are the favorites in this matchup. They've been playing together longer, so if they go down, that could be ugly. That said, NONAMEYET now finding a way to posture themselves. It's going to be Nuja flanking from the staircase, Joshy.
Yeah, and we see McCree actually in the cafe on the lower end. He is actually playing the staircase, so definitely more conservatively than we saw Neptuno's positioning. He'll come out at the right time. Actually, Olba did this on King's Row too, where he kind of waited in the wings for the engagement to actually happen before trying to get too much free damage from a distance. I think that works out fine. McCree's much more deadly at close range than he is at long range, even if you are quite accurate. So Nuja dashing into the cafe looking for Olba, but he's actually over here by the soundstage equipment, and really only 1 death per side. This is playing out very slowly. They need to get a move on.
Yeah, and Olba actually whiffing a couple of shots there, but the positioning is so important for McCree to be in that spot where you can just dole out damage and not be at too much risk of dying yourself, and that's exactly what we saw out of Olba. So maybe not the aimiest play, but the brainiest play.
Not the aimiest, but the brainiest. I like it.
It'll work. I'll take it.
Great. Yeah, NONAMEYET have actually not switched anything up. I wonder if it's time after the first couple of attacks have fell flat. Tweety getting that, was that a fire strike? It had to be something from range,
Nuja
right?
was just way ahead of his team.
Did he jump all the way into that Reinhardt?
He actually just went all the way in right there. So I'm not sure about that play from Nuja.
Ill-advised, but we do have Neptuno with a Deadeye. This could be a possibility. Genji's going to get back to the fray pretty quickly here with that dash, so there he is. Deadeye getting triggered, of course, as they move in here. Reinhardt going to have to do his best to protect his team. The more skulls there are, the more trigger pulls, but the Earthshatter actually flattens everybody on the attack. Yeah,
it's Olba in his little pocket. He's in that little window, and he was able to stop the Deadeye in its tracks with a flashbang, because he's been hiding away. If you saw, Neptuno actually was like, oh, I remember Olba was in this little pocket before. He looked for him, but he didn't fully check his 6, and that's when the flashbang came out, and Olba really holding strong for his team.
We've got Graviton Surge, Sound Barrier, and Transcendence available for OW Kings. NONAMEYET could match the Graviton Surge, but they don't have the defensive ults from Sound Barrier or Transcendence available. So I still have to give the edge to OW Kings. They're going to have to actually, for NONAMEYET, find some picks before this big engagement if they can.
All right, Hidon looking for a huge Graviton Surge. He's gonna need it, as the rest of his team actually flanking all around the side, but Shatter 2K gonna get 2 kills immediately, and once again this is being absolutely shut down, completely squashed. This attack is another one to fail for NONAMEYET, and this is their last possible chance. They have to push in next and get the capture right away. They don't have a lot of ultimates. Valen will have to be getting that sound barrier up to give his team the survivability that they need, as Nuja now so far from a Dragon Blade, and OW Kings, look at this, Olba in his secret spot.
I do, yeah, the positioning has worked out great so far. No one's really rushed him down yet, and they still run right past him. The flash catches several people. Reinhardt falling incredibly fast, built a Deadeye incredibly quickly, and even though he didn't get anything for it, his team is cleaning up quite easily. Hadan actually splashed himself, it looks like, to death, unfortunately, but only 40 seconds left. OW Kings definitely have this one in hand. Time to beat is 2 minutes for the entire map, and at this point, it is all but certain that OW Kings will be winning this game and winning the series 2-0 to have the right to face Dignitas in the deciding match to go to Atlanta.
All right, OW Kings, they do hail from enemy territory, and that type of game is all about setting up the proper crossfire, and I think you're seeing that that type of smarts come out of Olba in this situation. Very dominant stuff, and no answer at all for NONAMEYET. It's just 1 minute 30 left on the clock. They're going to try to get some consolation kills, try to get a consolation capture of this point, but it might be too little and too late at this moment in time as OW Kings racking up even more. They will not even allow this capture in the end.
That's right, full hold on A. Overtime starting to tick down now with the final kill there on Nuja and Zartaz going the way of OW Kings. And that was a nice and tidy match for OW Kings. No sweat at all. Luminosity actually had a scarier time against this team NONAMEYET than OW Kings, which is pretty interesting. But OW Kings not letting that loss earlier either go to their heads or affect them really. They showed very solid play, very, very few mistakes that I can recall. And basically just a very solid performance to lock it up and continue on in the group.
Shatter 2K may have been the MVP of Kings Row.
I think
but
so.
Olba had to be the MVP for me of Hollywood. Incredible stuff from him and kind of a slow to react, I think.
Olba or NONAMEYET?
No, from NONAMEYET.
Yeah,
they just couldn't find an answer. But we are going to find an answer with our analysts and our wonderful hosts of Seltzer Please and ZP. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. How are you guys doing after that match? Fistix, Joshi, thank you for casting that. ZP, we have a bit to talk about here because Overwatch Kings have dominated NONAMEYET here in these last 2 maps. And a big part of that, as you guys were saying, was Olba. Olba, very smart plays. So talk me through some of them.
Yeah, so I just sort of was bringing it up pre-game, saying that Olba is one of the more underrated McCrees in the game, and he's been one of the bright spots on OW Kings for a long time, and thankfully he made me look smart with his performance here in the set.
Don't you love when that happens?
Really went off. Hollywood, of course, a great example of that. Just really solid, explosive McCree play all throughout, and in the end, it was just a mechanical bonanza coming out from him, and you look at the Kings Row, certainly from Shatter. They both had great games, and I think that was probably the strategy with OW Kings when they picked up Shatter was, as mentioned, they want to have the 1-2 combo with Shatter and Olba, and this sort of shows the potential of this team when all things go right, and certainly it felt like the cleanest game we've seen from OW Kings in a very long time.
Well, about the 1-2 with Olba and Shatter, I mean, how does that play out on the field? From my perspective, it looked like Olba was facing down the enemy team head on, and we saw Shatter going around the back line, really taking him down. And
this moment right here, I actually had my hands on my head, like, guys, Olba's been in that doorway this whole time. How did you guys not turn and see him? And of course, in the heat of battle, can be difficult, but Olba.
Well,
great positioning.
The key thing with a dual threat like that is that when dealing with OW Kings in the past, I don't think they really had a secondary huge threat with their previous roster. So what you could do is that McCree isn't all that mobile, right? If you know that Olba is doing all this work, it's not all that difficult to just dedicate your tanks to going in on him a little bit harder, zoning him out of the fight, and making other members of his team beat you. But if you have Shatter there, that's a huge DPS threat as well. You can rely on him to really clean up if they overextend on Olba, and I think that we definitely saw elements of that here in the set.
Yeah, we saw Olba on McCree. We saw him on Reaper there, I think. Oh, wait, no, I'm talking about Shatter now. I can't screw this up anymore, which players are on what. So talk me through the switch-off we saw with Genji and Reaper for Shatter.
It was really just defense. He was on Reaper for defense, Genji for offense. He really set the pace for the team on both Kings Row and Hollywood attacks for OW Kings as Genji. As soon as a wipe started to happen, he would already bound forward and start blocking the return of NONAMEYET with those 3-star attacks. He was actually threading the needle at the end of Kings Row. I don't know if you saw it. The perfect position to actually go all the way through that cubby toward the spawns, and I actually haven't seen anyone really do that before, so maybe a little bit of tech for you Genji players on Kings Row, but yeah, Shatter, just the Reaper on defense makes more sense. Stick a little bit closer to your supports and tanks, try and blow up anyone who gets too close, and worked beautifully. A couple of good Death Blossoms there, kept everyone safe.
And comparably competent, right? Every time I see him, he's getting kills, no matter on the offense, on defense, just really mobile guy. Let's check out the incredible play of the game, see if it features Olba, see if it features Shatter, or something from left field.
Ooh, who
Yeah,
knows?
Tweety
Tweety
played great.
definitely. Yeah.
He really did.
Yeah.
Tweety
Super
had a
impressed with
massive
his
Earth
Reinhardt
Shatter.
play.
Yeah, in those highlights, he hit 5 people. Zen had to like Transcendence just to keep himself and his team alive through it. But I think it is most likely going to be. Oh, is it Olba? Pulse Bomb. Oh, we did actually get an off-screen Pulse Bomb into the Graviton Surge that had a big triple, so happy to see that.
Yep, it was right towards the end of King's Row, but ending it with a bang. The triple kill coming out from Olba. Just sort of indicative of a lot that went on here in this series. But again, glad that both Olba and Shatter had a really good game, and we'll see if they can carry that forward going into their next matchup.
And I don't want to forget that with No Name Yet, we had their first match they played today. They played with Veteran Junior. Then they switched it up and added in Nuja, who is actually the team captain. Veteran Junior was a bit of a sub. So how do we think that worked out for No Name Yet?
Actually, since I did cast the first game, I think that the control point map is where Veteran Junior was really showing a lot of flashes of brilliance with a couple of good Dragon Blades, and it's really easy to lose track of the Genji, I'll say, on those control maps, so it makes sense that Genji excels there a little bit more. On that payload map against Luminosity, though, it still wasn't really much coming out of Veteran Junior. So Nuja, I think, still did fine. He had a couple of Dragon Blades, get some multi-kills. I think he actually was doing the bulk of the work where Neptuno in the first match was really showing off his Tracer. He wasn't getting nearly as much done on McCree this time around. Nuja, I don't think he's a problem. I think he's still, an apt replacement for Veteran Junior if they are going to make that swap. But really, I think the issues are just with the teamwork and the experience. OW Kings have been playing together a long time. They did just add Shatter, as we've mentioned a few times, but they've been sticking together. The core, like Ben said, for months, maybe years.
Maybe like 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Oh, that long.
I mean, I'd have to tap some resources. I know Pansy out there. If you're watching, Pansy, just tweet us the info. But
Use
I know
the hashtag OWOpen.
Yeah.
Make
Yes.
sure you're following Face and League Pansy.
I know she's a big fan of Tweety and some of these old Wolfenstein enemy territory players who've been playing together for a very long time.
I just want to note something. This is more just a generality note here, but it is scary anytime you have someone subbing in for you on your team. There's been so many cases in Overwatch where you have someone sub in and go, all right, he's just going to be going in here, and then he makes a main roster because you do better. I don't know if it's the case with Nuja and Veteran Junior, but going way back here, looking at Northern Gaming Red, of course, now RIP, but in the saga of Bird got on their team because he was subbing in for players that are missing like Exion, and then they realized, wait, we're doing so well with Bird, we're just going to put him on our main team. Then Bird leaves the team unceremoniously, kills the team is dead. But
that's a story for another time.
It is.
Unfortunately.
Well, guys, we have a short break coming up. After this break, we are going to send one more team to Atlanta, so hold on to your seats. We've got more Overwatch coming just for you.